Welcome to the Epic Success Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Shannon Irvin. So we are having such a treat today. Caro Brookings is here, and she is one of my certified neuro coaches. And we're going to talk about what that means to be certified as a neuro coach, and talk about her background and her calling and her mission to help people be supported through transition, especially in the transition of grief. So I wanted to bring her on to share her story. She is an amazing person that has really transformed the lives of people in such a deep, intimate way. And I know a lot of you listen, you're coaches, you're becoming coaches, you're getting certified with the neuro coaching. And I want to show you what a journey is like and let you in on this specific, very niche down area of coaching that I think is one of the most powerful in our whole group and cohort. So, Caro, welcome to the podcast. I know you're a listener, so it's fun to have you on, right?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Tell the listeners the story of you and you finding and knowing you needed to get certified because you really wanted to take this coaching thing real.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting story. So it starts with my mum taking her life back in November 2013 and me really going through my own grief journey. But at the time, I was in my last year at uni studying math, funnily enough. I already had my graduate job lined up. So at that time, I was just really trying to find my own way through that grief. But I quite quickly realized that there aren't anywhere near enough resources and support out there for suicide loss survivors. But again, at the time, I thought, okay, there's a couple of small charities. I just donate some money, fundraise some money, and I let them do their thing. Fast forward a few years, I had my first daughter, and I really had the time to reflect what I wanted to do with my life. And again, firstly, my mind went straight to math because that's where my background was. And I had these real limiting beliefs because supporting other suicide loss survivors fleetingly came into my mind. Mm-hmm. But I had all these limiting beliefs. Like I said, oh, I can't do that. I'm not qualified enough. I can't charge for it, all that kind of thing. So I started tutoring math, and then I came across your Epic Success Program. And I thought that'll be amazing. It'll help me get my maths tutoring business off the grind even more. So I joined. I had Gina as my personal coach, and we really dove in deep. And I just had this realization, and I had this really great breakthrough that, yes, I am enough. Yes, I've gone through that really tragic experience. And yes, I can do things to support other people. And then I was looking around because I knew I wanted to get certified in something. Yeah. But a lot of the time, things just didn't resonate with me because it just felt to me like it was something that someone just made up themselves, if that makes sense. And then I found out about your Neuro Coaching Certification. I thought, this is amazing because it's brain-based, it's science-backed, and it works for everyone every time as long as they take the right steps. So I knew I had to get certified with that. And now I support my one-on-one clients using your framework.
And I love this because I remember in the very beginning, and this is the journey for everyone. We until we shift these things in our mind, we want to take the safe route. And math for you was a safe route. You could do it in your sleep. And sometimes that is the path, right? So that's where it gets a little bit confusing. It's like, well, there's a need. People do need that. But I do remember, it's funny, with my clients, I remember these moments and this moment where you were like trying, it was like math was the square peg and you were trying to put it in the round hole, and you were trying to like almost like advocate. This is really early, right? So you were trying to advocate for like a math program, and it could do, and so I remember like, yeah, I mean, you could do that, but you don't really want to, do you? And that was like this one, in the power of a question, right? And that really made you double down on that thing, that still small voice that was always there and kind of along the way saying, you know what, good is going to come out of tragedy. And I've watched you grow, not only as a person, right, through transform people, right, but as you go deeper and serve deeper and coach more people, you've really blossomed into this really, really amazing coach. And yeah, that's a pretty powerful thing, knowing like, I know how the brain creates change, how the brain creates success, how to remove these limiting beliefs. And that allows you to coach well, right? I always say the coaching industry is broken because most people don't know how to coach. So what was something that, and you already intimated it, what was one of the limiting beliefs that you had you kind of in the safety zone, so to speak, that had you ignoring the voice that kept getting louder?
Yeah. I think the main one really was that I wasn't anywhere near qualified enough. And even I remember having the enrollment call with Angela, and I was still saying to her, I can't just practice on these people, because if anyone knows Angela, she was saying, well, you can just, you're a few steps ahead of them, and you could put together a group and you can just support them. And I remember the famous wanting to throw a shoe at her, because I still had these things holding me back, because I thought, well, okay, I've gone through the experience, but my background is in math. I haven't got enough experience. So that was really holding me back. But then again, working through it and rewiring and priming my brain, I realized, well, I can get the experience. I'm now a certified neuro coach. I also did the ILCT grief coaching course as well. So I'm now got the vast experience. I know what it's like, and I've got these frameworks and tools and skills, and it's really well-rounded now. So I'm really happy with that.
Was one of the things that as you started to grow and you had to actually put your coaching out there and you had to actually sell your coaching, right? That moment, what did you believe before you had your first client, and how has that shifted in this process?
Yeah, it was really interesting. So again, right at the start, I thought, well, I can't possibly charge for that. And then I started with having like a small membership group, and I was charging, $27 a month, and I was providing all of these services. Right. But then one of the things, again, I love inside the Neuro Coaching Certification is Coach Launch Formula 1, which means, you put yourself out there regularly, you start to build
right away.
And you get people on the call and see how you can help them. And I love the way you structured it as well, by saying, okay, you start by where you're at, what you normally charge, what you feel comfortable with, because there's no point charging loads of money if you haven't got any conviction behind it. So I did that, and then I used the formula to steadily increase my prices with each client, and that worked out really well.
Yeah, I love it. So I would love for you, you can say, I'm going to pass on this question, or we can edit this out, but I would love for you to talk about, because she was giving it away for free at one point, and we, like a lot of coaches as they're getting started, or $27. So, and she was doing like a lot. So you went from 27. What are you charging for a package now?
Well, I'm just actually in the process of revamping everything. Awesome. So it's probably, I don't know. I probably don't want to mention, because I'm just working through what I'm going to offering. So so
you're doing a new offering. So it's this process of starting where you're at that allows your brain to not have a temper tantrum, and allows you to feel what it's like when somebody says yes to themselves and starts coaching with you, and then stacking that and then shifting, and you never stay at that same place until a certain level, and then you do. But so tell me, instead of telling me that, tell me what is experience when you started charging more, and then you doubled, right? And you sold at that price. What shifted in you in terms of your value and what you bring to the table, and how impactful it is for your clients?
Yeah, it was really interesting, because I had one lady that I was talking to, and she signed up, and she said to me, look, I think what you charge is a lot. I think you're really expensive. And I thought to myself, well, that's one of your stories, but okay. But she said the interesting thing was, she said, when I signed up, when I paid the money, when I signed the agreement, I said to myself, I'm all in, I'm going to make this work. And she is to date one of my most successful clients. She's seen the most change. She does all the exercises and she really doubles down. So it's really, yeah, like we say, and I need to remember what it is. What is it about the transaction and the
transformation is in the transaction.
Yeah. So we say the transformation is in the transaction, and that's really true, because people then start to see the value and they're going all in, and it's not just something, they do on the side. And I remember I have been the same. If it's only a few dollars, and then you think, oh, well, there's all of these other things, and then you just forget about it.
Yeah. You get dabblers. So if you think about it, like, we do free things, but the free things always end in something that they choose to invest in. And so when you do free or very low price, exactly, you're like, it's not a big deal. So you're not all in, you're half in. And so they do half the work. And when they do half the work, they get a barely percentage of the results, not because you're not an amazing coach, but because if you got to trust the process and follow the process. And so as I've watched you kind of, okay, wow, okay, then charge more and then charge more. Now all of a sudden it's attracting to you a different person, someone who is committed, who is all in. And when you think about, I call it the coaching personality type, right? When you think about us, we are people who our passion is to see change and transformation for people. Like that's what lights us up. That's what makes us excited. Like we're a weird breed. Like we're not the normal people in the world, right? And so given that that's us, like when you go all in and your belief does have to match, right? You can't expect your clients to outbelieve. So that process of coach launch formula allows you to build belief in your price as you build your price, which is what you eventually want to do. And then I love, as I've watched you, it's not, we think we need to become confident. And I'd love for you to talk about this. Like you got your certifications, but as you started coaching, the confidence came because you saw people get results, right? So talk about what happens. You've had both, right? You've had the dabblers and the low end, and then you've had the people that have gone all in. Tell me like how that's landed for you in terms of the confidence you come to coaching with.
Yeah, I mean, it really increased my confidence massively, because at the start, when you have the dabblers and they, like you say, they don't necessarily get the results, then you do sort of doubt yourself a little bit, especially when you haven't been coaching for long and you think, okay, what am I maybe doing wrong? What do I need to change? And then as I've been increasing the prices and I had those people who are all in, I'm seeing, well, they're getting massive transformations and I haven't actually changed anything. So that really made me realize that I'm doing all of the right things consistently with my clients, and it falls back onto the client to take accountability for their results. And yeah, when you charge a higher price, then definitely the clients are more all in than when you only charge a few dollars.
Yeah, I love this conversation because so many people have the coach personality type and they feel called, and of course, the certification, they come in and get certified, and it really is that confidence piece. And then I'll see people, oh, well, because I don't feel confident, I will charge less, and then they charge less and they stay unconfident because of the people that they're attracting. So here's one thing I love about you, Caro, is that you came in and you trusted the process. You went and did we put that in the front for a reason, because I want people when they're getting certified to start seeing income come in, pay for the certification, obviously, and also gain you that confidence to take those steps. And you did it afraid. And I would love for you to talk about that. Like, fear is a liar, right? We learn where fear is in the brain, how fear stops us and all those things. Talk about some of the things, the fears that you had to push through to be coaching at this kind of elite level.
Yeah, I mean, I still remember right at the start was a very real fear of just putting myself out there because my story is very personal. Suicide and suicide loss is still very much stigmatized. And in the early days when my mom first took her life, yes, I talked to family and friends about it, but even colleagues or acquaintances, they didn't know how my mom died. So I still remember when, again, I was talking with Gina, who was really great at coaching me, and she challenged me to just starting by putting myself out on social media. So I remember hiding behind a logo, not putting my face out there or my real name, and just starting with that. But again, just working on that and working on the certification, I just went for it. I just put myself out there, and it was scary, but it gets easier over time because you grow more confident. And remember as well, done is better than perfect. So just put yourself out there, grow in confidence, and as you do it more and more, you learn. And now I do a Facebook Live, for example, as part of Coach Lodge Formula One without even thinking about it. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that because I do remember like the terror on your face, but as you trusted the process, and that's the thing, having a process that works with how your brain wires. Like when your brain's flooded with fear, the advice just do it anyway doesn't work, right? So it's like taking these micro steps that we bake into that formula. It allows your brain to kind of like, yes, it's a little scary, but it grew that confidence too. So I watched that as well. I would love for you to share with our audience that's listening around your expertise. Like you coach people that have gone through grief. And I know particularly have a heart for those who've gone through grief around suicide. So if somebody in the listening audience is gone through, still trying to heal from that, I would love for you to maybe give your one or two ideas as to where they can start to gain some momentum toward getting back their life. I know you talk a lot about that. So
yeah. And again, it's so interesting. And that's why I love the certification and your framework, because what I find with working with my clients is that what often holds us back and what's keeping us stuck and stops us from healing is having certain thoughts that aren't true or that aren't helpful. So some of the things that a suicide loss survivors have, especially around the guilt, I should have done this, I could have done that, it's all my fault. That's a big one. All my fault. I'm a horrible human being. All of these kinds of thoughts. I would encourage people to really start paying attention to their thoughts and realize that not all of our thoughts are true or helpful. Right. And we're the creator of our thoughts. So we can go through a process, your framework, that's what I use with my clients, to really recognize these thoughts and challenge them and refute them and then rewire the brain. So I would encourage people to start really consciously recognizing those thoughts, writing them down, and start to challenge them.
I love it. And of course, we're going to let people know how they can go deeper with you and your work if that's their scenario and what they're doing. And I know you've got a lot of great resources for them to be able to start to heal and see light and love again. What's like your big vision, like behind your eyes, what's coming next? Like, this is the exciting thing that I get to work with amazing people like Caro, and she's got vision now for some big things. So I'd love for you to share kind of how you see your business growing and changing in the next little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm in as we're recording this, I'm in the process of about to host my next summit or interview series. So this is really exciting for me, because one thing I realized is that when we're bereaved by suicide, we don't have the energy to go around and find all these great resources that are out there if we know where to look. So I love bringing together lots of experts who can talk about a topic like guilt after suicide loss and share their expertise and experience. So I definitely want to carry on doing that. I've also got a lovely Facebook group community where I find it's very different to other suicide loss Facebook groups, because a lot of the other groups, there's just peers and they share their experiences, but I feel like there's no real moving forward. Whereas in my group, yes, we can share experiences, but I also challenge you to think about certain things. And again, everything I do is based on the framework. So it's brain-based, science-backed, and just giving you little nuggets every day. And then I'd love to continue to grow my one-on-one client base. And I'm even thinking about putting together some kind of group program as well. Just, I know different people work differently and people look for different kinds of help. So I just really want to put resources out there where there's something for everyone as and when they need it.
I love it. I love it. Such an interesting, I love the convergence for you. And I want my listeners who's thinking about becoming coaches, like arguably the most painful thing you've gone through in your life, losing your mom, right? And then how that became something you wouldn't wish it on anybody, of course, but yet at the same time, you are now being able to turn something like that into something that really is going to change lives, change families, because you and I both seen families where that doesn't change, and they're struggling even though they're still alive because of how they feel. So getting them to get their life back is really important work. And again, part of the coach personality type, right? We are vulnerable enough to use what we've gone through to help others go through it better and faster, and so that they don't have to have as far of a fall or as long of a journey. So I would love for you, as we wrap up, to maybe give a piece of advice for someone who is thinking about becoming a coach. Maybe they're thinking about getting even certified as a neuro coach to have the brain-based, science-backed process of coaching. I'd love for you to just give your piece of advice as a veteran coach now, looking back at somebody just getting started or trying to grow.
Yeah, so I would say definitely look for something that resonates with you and do your research. And if you've got these nagging doubts in your head, then maybe that's actually a reason to go for it, right? I was putting out a reel the other day and it felt really vulnerable, and I thought, right, that's my sign that I need to go for it and that I need to do it. And do it now, don't wait, because otherwise you're another year down the line and another year down the line, and you'll still be in the same place and nothing has changed. So sometimes you just need to go for it. And like I said earlier, I love the certification because it is brain-based and science-backed, and it works in all walks of life, in all areas, every time. So yeah.
I love it. I love that advice. Like, if you let it go, it's just another year, 6 months that passed you down. Like, let's get it into action. So that I think about like your people, like if you didn't start, they'd still be suffering. And I say this a lot and people think I'm just saying it. I mean it from the core of my being, like start because someone is waiting. Like literally, I can't do what Caro does. Caro can't do what I do. That's what makes this world amazing if we actually plug into that idea. And now your people can hear you. Now your people can get served by you and get healed and transformed through your coaching. So thanks for being a light and an example and really helping people on such a deep level. How can people connect with you? Of course, we'll put everything in the show notes in terms of socials and all that, but what's the best place for somebody to start if they're like, hey, I could really connect with what she's doing and I need some support there?
Yeah, so I mentioned the Facebook group earlier. So it's a private Facebook group with all other suicide loss survivors. So I encourage them to join that. It's called Healing After Suicide Loss, and we can put the link below as well. So it's a really great community to start with, to see what it's all about. And then they can also email me, and it's caro@suicidebereavementcoaching.com to get in touch.
I love it. All right, we'll put all that in the show notes. Caro, keep being amazing. Keep being the light that shines out there. And thank you for being a part of our community. You are incredible. And thanks, listeners, to listening in on this amazing interview. I hope you're inspired. I hope you're excited about maybe potentially a career shift and starting to really become that coach. Even if you've been dabbling, this is our call to you to go all in And we have spots available in the certification, very few of them. It's a very limited certification and application only, but in the show notes, the links are there for you to apply and to get in this community of people changing lives and making a difference like Caro. So thanks for being with us today. You are incredible.
Thank you.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye.